So one of the things we want to do in this course, one of our core objectives, is to learn how to contextualize a text that we're looking at. So whether it's a house in your neighborhood or a building in a nearby city or a work of art you're looking at in a museum or a hip hop song that you're listening to on iTunes, you want to be able to contextualize it. You want to be able to connect it to what's happening in the world at its time. That's one of the major reasons we have this course and that we require students to take courses like this so that they can learn to better understand the world around them, but in many different ways. But one of the tools is to contextualize that world. So here we're going to take a look at a fabulous website that does exactly that for Uncle Tom's Cabin. It's called Uncle Tom's Cabin and American Culture. And you've seen me reference it before already in some of my web lectures and our discussion forums. And I want to highlight in particular the pre-text section because it really focuses our attention on four major strands of antebellum, pre-Civil War 19th century American culture: Christian texts, sentimentalism, anti-slavery narratives, and minstrel shows. And I just want to give you a quick look at what's in here. So, for example, when we encounter the characters like Sam and Andy early in the book, later Topsy, Stowe is referring to American minstrelsy. And that reference can be problematic. Many readers see her use of minstrelsy as a perpetuation of a racist, artistic, and commercial structure in American culture, especially when they see that she seems to be doing it without any irony. But in other cases, some people argue that minstrelsy, as practiced by characters like Sam and Andy, actually empower them. So it's an interesting debate over how minstrelsy works in the novel. But we can certainly get a better understanding of what minstrelsy was by using this website. So here we can click and see images related to minstrelsy, and that's a lot of fun. But my favorite part is that we can actually tap into some of the music of the time and hear some of the minstrel tunes. The first famous minstrel tune is Zip Coon, and you can actually still hear that performed in American folk music today.
Oh, Zip Coon, he is a learned scholar. Oh, Zip Coon, he is a learned scholar. Oh, Zip Coon, he is a learned scholar. Sings possum up a gum tree and Cooney in the holler. Possum up a gum tree, Cooney on a stump. Possum up a gum tree.
And so, of course, the thing that's interesting about the setup here is we get the music and the lyrics. We also get related texts. So you can click here and see minstrelsy related texts, newspaper advertisements, all sorts of stuff that you can use. And at different points in our work with Uncle Tom's Cabin, in discussion forums and in our paper about Uncle Tom's Cabin, I'm going to ask you to come into this site, find a text in here, and connect it to a passage from Uncle Tom's Cabin. And that's what we mean by putting things in their cultural context. Another important area where we can do this in Uncle Tom's Cabin is sentimental culture. Sentimentalism is one of the major tropes that Stowe invokes. She's very interested in engaging her domestic reader with ideas of domestic culture, with the issues that women at the time were concerned with. So we can go into any of these places and find pictures and images that we can look at as contextual ideas for what was meant in the time. So obviously these are idealized images of motherhood, but this clearly situates the mother, right, in the domestic space. This is, I think, a good example of the cult of domesticity in a common book illustration. And what the conversation I'm having right now, where I look at an image from that time period and connect it to an idea that's an important linchpin of Stowe's thinking and how she represents domesticity in Uncle Tom's Cabin. And now we have an opportunity for what we could call intertextuality, right? One text being connected to another, or one text providing context for another. So I hope this gives you some creative ideas on how we can play around in this space and look at and explore some of the key cultural ideas that were prevalent in the 19th century, and then find images, texts, songs, advertisements, all sorts of cultural resources from the time period that we can examine to better understand Uncle Tom's Cabin. Thanks. See you in Blackboard.